Right from the jump, notice how formal the tone is. Consent to audio and video recording is a legal must. The court can't use testimony unless the witness knowingly agrees. Watch how the judge walks her through it step by step. This is Courtroom Choreography 101.
Catherine Milligan.
All right. Ms. Milligan, if you'll come forward. And when you get to the chair, if you'll remain standing, please. I need to first ask you if you consent to being audio and video recorded. Pardon me? Okay. All right. Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the court today? I do. Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat. Be careful of that microphone. It will catch you. And then you have to be really close to it to be heard. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anna. Mrs. Milligan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you just introduce yourself to the jury, and if you could, for the record, spell your first name and your last name.
Hi, my name is Catherine Milligan, Kathryn, last name Milligan.
And Mrs. Milligan, what do you do?
I'm a high school English teacher.
And you taught at St. Vincent, St. Mary High School here in Akron?
I did for 8 years.
And what did you teach English there?
I taught English and some English electives, yes.
Do you know Sydney Powell here in the courtroom?
I do.
And I think we've heard previously that Sydney was a student at St. V from 2014 through 2018. Does that sound about right?
That does sound right, yes.
Okay. And the jury has heard from some witnesses, or at least heard their name: Amanda Brown, Lauren Curry, Aaron Dempsey. Do you know who those folks are?
I do. Those are friends of Sydney's.
Were they also students at St. V?
They were students at St. V, yes.
At the same time as Sydney?
At the same time as Sydney, in the same grade as Sydney.
So they all graduated in 2018?
Yes.
And could you tell the jury, do you remember having Sydney as a student?
Absolutely, yes.
What years and what subject do you remember having Sydney as a student?
So I taught Sydney during her sophomore year for English, so that would be a full year course. Junior year was a full year course, and then she took an elective with me her senior year, and that was a semester course.
Whenever a witness struggles to identify an exhibit, it can be a tense moment, especially in front of a jury. But Milligan handles it like a pro. By the way, do you think witnesses should be allowed to use reading glasses mid-testimony, or could that look unprepared? Let me know.
Okay, I'm going to just show you and the jury what I've marked as Defense Exhibit R. Can you tell us, what is that?
You know what, I didn't bring my reading glasses.
Oh, that's okay.
Can I grab those? They're right there in my purse. Can I grab those?
Sure.
Okay. Or my husband can hand them to you if you want.
You know what? Here, you can use mine.
Well, I mean, but can I? How bad are yours? Let's see.
Pretty bad.
Okay. So that's from the Kairos religious retreat.
Okay, what is a Kairos religious retreat? Can you tell the jury?
So it's a retreat that the students voluntarily sign up and go on, and it's when they talk about God. Certainly it's a Catholic school. They talk about their faith. They talk about relationships with each other, with their families, and really it's designed to help them grow their faith is the purpose, the overriding mission of the retreat.
And what was your involvement in that religious retreat when Sydney was a student, if you remember?
So I was one of the adult chaperones at the retreat. So I was there as a leader, as a mentor. I gave a talk one day, as all of the leaders did, and I was there mostly to help the students, listen to the students, help run some activities, but mostly just be a presence there at the retreat as one of the adults.
And do you remember Sydney participating in that retreat?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember what her role was there?
I believe she was a student, one of the students attending the retreat. I don't recall if she was one of the Kairos leaders. I don't recall that. But she certainly attended the retreat with her friends and participated in all the events and the small groups and the large groups and the activities.
And I'm going to just show you in the jury defense exhibit.
This is classic character-building testimony. Photos, memories, shared school activities, all meant to show Sydney as a normal, socially connected, grounded student. Defense attorneys love this type of detail because it humanizes a defendant before the jury.
S is in Sam. Do you recognize what that photograph is?
That photograph was taken, there was a prayer walk that the students went on. Obviously, it was in the winter. I believe it was January. And the students would go on a prayer walk. It was a time for them to reflect, pray, and the students were out walking. So Sydney has a hat on. It's kind of blocked, but she is the second person with, oh, there we go, okay. Yeah, so you can see her name on her Letterman jacket, her soccer Letterman jacket. So she's the person, the second on the left-hand side.
And it looks like maybe to Sydney's left would perhaps be Lauren Curry?
Yes, that was Lauren Curry.
Okay, thank you. And do you remember Sydney playing soccer during her time at St. V?
I do.
Talk about ski club at St. V.
So I was the faculty advisor for the ski club. Every week during the winter session, we would go to Brandywine or Boston Mills, one of the two local places, and then occasionally there would be trips to New York. So I chaperoned a trip to New York. It was either Peak and Peak or Holiday Valley. I don't recall which one it was, but it was one of those two. And I went on that ski club retreat with the group, and Sydney was there, and she told me she didn't know how to ski, and I thought, wow, you're on this trip, and she really didn't know how to ski. And I've been skiing since I was 5, so I said, well, I'll teach you how to ski, and I did. So we went down the hill a couple times, and I taught her the basics of skiing, and it was a lot of fun. And so then she was able to join in with some of her friends after she had some, makeshift lessons.
Okay, and I'm going to show you the last photograph is Defendant's Exhibit T.
Okay, so I did teach her, but at that moment, she did ski into a tree. So, and we joked around, and so we had a good relationship. So when she did miss a turn there, she skied into a tree, and I did snap a photo and then help her get out of the tree. I did snap the photo before I helped her with getting out of the tree, though.
We won't tell anybody. So you spent a lot of time with Sydney Powell as a student in high school?
I did.
Can you share with the jury, what kind of student was she?
She was a good student. So she had a high GPA. She cared about her grades. She did her work. She was conscientious. She was quiet. She was respectful. And had a lot of friends, and was a well-liked student, well-liked person, respected by the faculty.
Was Sydney ever, to your knowledge, in trouble for fighting or arguing?
No, she was not to my knowledge.
Was she ever that kind of kid who was causing trouble, arguing with other students, causing drama, anything like that?
No, never.
And did you know Sydney to be an honest person?
Yes.
And I think the jury has heard, too, that Sydney's little brother, Andrew, graduated from St. V.
He did. I had him in class his junior year, and he graduated last year, so that would have been 2 years ago, yes.
So you know Sydney, you know her brother. You have some kind of knowledge of the whole Powell family?
I do.
And what's your opinion of the Powell family?
I know that from what I've heard, they were a very close family. I never interacted with the whole family as a whole. I know that her family supported her in her activities. I know that they attended her soccer games, and I know that they supported her in activities. I know they sent her on a ski trip, which was extra money, so I know they supported her in things that she wanted to do.
Here comes one of the most emotional moments so far. Anxiety, panic, academic pressure. These are relatable teenage struggles. The defense is smartly planting seeds. Sydney wasn't violent or disruptive, but overwhelmed and scared. That emotional contrast is huge for jurors.
Okay. And did you ultimately or eventually write a letter of recommendation for Sydney?
I did. I wrote a college letter of recommendation for her to attend Mount Union, and it was an easy letter to write. Those are easy letters to write because she was a good student, she was respectful. I knew she would succeed in college, and I remember writing, I'm certain that she'll succeed at whatever school she attended. So I did write a letter. Yes, I did write a letter.
Mrs. Milligan, do you recall a time in Sydney and her friend's junior year where Sydney and I think her friend Aaron Dempsey came to your class?
I do.
Could you tell the jury what you recall about that?
I didn't have a class, so it must have been when I had a planning period, and I was alone in my room, and the two of them came in, and Sydney was crying, and she was, I would say, distraught. And I said, what's wrong? And she said that she had a test, or I think it was a presentation for a chemistry class, and she said, I can't see the numbers. And I said, what? What do you mean you can't see the numbers? She's like, I can't see the numbers. I can't present. I can't see what's in front of me. And I said, okay. I said, how can I help you? What do you want me to do? And she was really upset. She was pretty upset about it. So I said, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want to go down and talk to the teacher, or do you want me to? And she asked me to go. So I went down and I talked to our teacher, and I said, look, Sydney's really upset. She says she can't see the numbers. She's asking if she could take the test on another day. And the teacher said, yes, of course. And so I went up and told Sydney, and so I assumed she took the test on another day. I wasn't the person in charge of that test.
Okay. And just the last question, can you know why we're here today?
I do.
Why Sydney's here today. Could you just share with the jury, what was your just initial reaction when you heard that Sydney had been charged with this offense?
I was stuck.
Okay. Mrs. Milligan, I don't have any further questions. Thank you, ma'am. There might be some questions from the prosecutor.
Okay.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Hi, Mrs. Milligan.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Joe McAleese. I'm one of the prosecutors here for the state, and I just have a few questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I know the jury's heard me say this a lot, but if I say something that you can't understand or you can't hear me, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. How long have you been a teacher, Mrs. Milligan?
So this is my 9th year of teaching.
9th year?
Yes.
Okay. And you said English classes at the high school level.
Correct, yes.
So it's been a long time for me, but that would include like readings through Romeo and Juliet, The Crucible, Macbeth, that type of stuff?
Sure, yes.
Okay. And that would also be coupled with examinations, presentations, reading groups, homework, take-home assignments, writing?
Sure, yes, of course.
And you've had the opportunity in 9 years to teach and work with quite a few students.
Yes.
Yes. And in your experience, is it fair to say that you've noticed different types of personalities and different mental health stressors that all types of students have?
Sure, yes.
Okay. You've recognized in your career that some students have test anxiety or presentation anxieties.
I know that is a condition that exists. I'm certainly not an expert on it, but yes, I know that exists, certainly.
Absolutely, and I'm not going to ask you to give an expert opinion on any type of mental health issue, but based on your experience as a teacher, you've seen that sometimes high school projects can catch up to students, the homeworks, the workloads. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
And you as a teacher, you try to recognize those issues and, as needed, try to help them out, just like you did for Ms. Powell when she was struggling with that presentation.
Yes.
Okay. And you also had the opportunity specifically to work with Ms. Powell as part of that religious retreat.
Yes.
Okay. So it's fair to say, and I know Attorney Malarczyk addressed this, you had a pretty connected relationship with Ms. Powell and some of her friends.
Yes, I did.
And is it fair to say you've taught the high school level that these high school age is 14 to 17, 14 to 18. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And we all know that at that age, things can be a little bit overwhelming.
At times, certainly, yes.
Absolutely. And that would include things outside of school, like whether it's their friends or their boyfriends or their girlfriends or family issues, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes those emotions and those stressors, they can interrupt a student's flow day to day.
They can interrupt anybody's flow day to day.
Absolutely. You can also agree at age 14, 16, 17, 18, some students don't have the tools that maybe an adult has later in life where you can manage that stress.
Right.
And based on your experience as a teacher, you've seen different types of students, those who are shy, those who are outgoing, those with a lot of friends. I know that's kind of a heavy-handed question there, so let me slow down. Sorry. You've seen students who are a little bit more shy.
Yes.
Maybe isolate themselves because they're a little bit nervous of making friends.
Sure.
Okay. You've seen students afraid to be embarrassed at times.
Yes.
Okay. And you've seen other students who are great with making friends and keeping their social life up to date.
I have, yes.
And just previously, you testified that Miss Sydney Powell, she had a good group of friends.
She did.
That generally
She
she was
does,
a
yeah.
little bit quiet, but within that group, we've heard from other testimony that she was bubbly and a good friend to everybody.
Notice how the prosecutor carefully revisits the panic attack moment. This isn't random. They're testing the credibility of mental health-related defense theories without stepping into expert testimony territory. It's a delicate legal dance. High-stakes stuff.
Yes.
And you knew Miss Powell for 3 years, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And Miss Powell trusted you enough that she went to you to write her college recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, and you've wrote other recommendations for other students in the
I
past
have.
as well?
Yes.
Okay. You indicated that Miss Powell we've seen her transcripts from St. V, we've heard from her friends and her family. She was a great student at St. V.
That's true.
Good GPA, she got her work done?
Yes.
Okay. She was a people pleaser, I think you told Dr. Reardon?
Yes.
Okay, didn't want to let people down?
I don't know.
Oh, that's okay, I'm sorry. If you don't know that, that's absolutely fine. I'm not trying to trick you or anything.
Okay.
And you had the opportunity, at some point, you met Dr. Reardon.
I talked to him on the phone.
Talked to him on the phone.
I
I'm
never
sorry.
met him in
Okay.
person.
So you guys did have a conversation on the phone?
Yes.
And he brought up, if you recalled, an incident in Miss Powell's junior year where she had somewhat of a panic attack.
Yes.
Okay. And when he brought that up, that recalled your memory of that incident?
Yes, it did.
And so her junior year, that would have been, I'm not very good at math, so somewhere around 6 years ago?
Yeah.
2017 maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, thank you. And you described with Attorney Malarsic that she seemed distraught, she seemed kind of panicked, and she couldn't read the numbers.
That's what she told me, yes.
Okay. And you've seen other students have nerves when it comes to presenting in front of a class, is that correct?
I have. No one's ever told me they couldn't read the numbers, but certainly I've seen people be panicked, yes.
Okay.
I've
And-
never heard that somebody couldn't read the numbers.
Okay, so that stood out to you a little bit?
It did.
Okay. And you helped Ms. Powell by talking to that teacher and getting it situated?
Yes.
And as far as you know, in the end, Ms. Powell was able to work through whatever that was. We know her grades were very good. She clearly was able to get through that situation.
I don't know. I assume so, but I certainly don't know.
It never came back and there was a secondary issue with the numbers or anything like that?
Not that she discussed with me. But I wasn't her teacher for that, so I can't conclusively say, but
Absolutely. Yeah, that wasn't your class, right?
it was not my class.
Okay. That day when she came to you, you didn't call the St. V administrators to report what was going on?
No, that would not be inappropriate. I mean, things like that, no. That would not be a reason to call an administrator, no.
Okay, you didn't have Sydney go down or Ms. Powell go down and talk to the school counselor?
I don't recall what happened after I told her that she didn't have to take the test, so I can't tell you one way or the other what happened. I don't recall.
Do you recall if you spoke with Ms. Powell's parents that day regarding her stressors with that class?
I don't recall.
Okay. But that was something that you were able to work with her and get it handled?
Yes.
Okay. And Mrs. Milligan, around that time or in your years with Ms. Powell, she never reported to you any auditory hallucinations?
She did not.
She never reported?
Other than not being able to see the numbers. I don't know where that
Oh,
falls.
thank you, yeah. And I guess with the second question, maybe the same answer, she never reported any visual hallucinations?
This final statement is huge. A veteran teacher and a mandated reporter says nothing about Sydney ever set off red flags. No violence, no meltdowns, no safety concerns. The defense will almost certainly use this to argue that what Sydney later did was out of character, maybe even the result of a sudden break, not a pattern.
Again, like, where does that fall? Not being able to see the numbers. I'm not an expert on this, but she did tell me she couldn't see the numbers.
Thank you.
I don't know where that falls in there.
You can't recall any situation where you found Miss Powell somewhere in the school where she shouldn't have been and she couldn't remember why she was there?
I don't recall that, no.
You don't recall in your classes with Miss Powell any moment where she seemed to black out?
that she blacked out? No, I would say no. I mean, I think I would.
And Mrs. Milligan, as a teacher, you're what the law would refer to as, and I'm sorry if I say this wrong, but you would be required to report anything that caught your attention, specifically with a student, and legal issues or serious health issues.
Well, a mandated reporter is for child abuse, neglect, and things like that. I don't believe a teacher's. I think you're talking about something different. I think mandated reporting is for child abuse and neglect.
Okay, thank you for helping me understand that. So let me ask you this, Mrs. Milligan. There was nothing in your experience with Miss Sydney Powell that caught your attention enough to report to her parents about her behavior or to school administration?
I did not report anything to school administration or her parents, no.
Your Honor, at this time, I have no further questions for Mrs. Milligan. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Malarsic, redirect.
No further questions. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Ms. Milligan. You may step down.